everybody. Welcome to Coffee with KPP Live, the show that's dedicated to providing you with advice for life so that you can live richly and work toward the life that you've earned. My name's Kyle Roy, financial advisor. I'm joined here with Rob Davenport, CEO of Kentucky Planning Partners, and Weeks Mckinney Smith, founder, president, and CEO of Media Venue. We have an exciting show today where Meeks, who is a lifelong marketing specialist, founded his company in 1995, has had extraordinary success, has family ties in the marketing and radio industry, and really this show is for anybody that's curious about what marketing looks like in 2021. How can you get your name out there, your business out there? How can you promote yourself in this environment and in the future going forward? So Weeks, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
It's, this is exciting. I've been looking forward to this interview for a number of weeks now. And just to kind of go back in time, when we started Kentucky Planning Partners 16 years ago, and all throughout our history, we have done very, very little advertising. Very little advertising. I mean, there might be an ad in a small periodical here and there. There might be a story that Business First picks up on us, but we've had no coordinated advertising. And what prompted all of this was, Kyle, when you came on board in July of last year, we sat down and you had some ideas that were tremendous, and they involved marketing our firm through social media. And so I immediately thought of Weeks, because this is what Media Venue does.
That's what we do. Well,
so welcome. This is
thank you.
exciting
Thank
for
you.
us. Your firm has helped us build a presence. We wouldn't be doing this probably if we hadn't consulted with your firm as well. And this is exciting stuff. So we hope small business owners and others out there can really gain some good advice this morning from our interview and conversation with you. So with that being said, let's just back up, and can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your family history in this line of work, and just have people get to know you a little bit?
Sure. Well, as far as you not advertising, that really says a lot for your reputation. And that's one of the first things that we look at is the brand of a company, to what level of advertising and marketing that we do recommend. So I'll have to give you a compliment that's out of the gate, because there are a lot of companies that we look at, that we talk to, that have no branding presence whatsoever.
Right.
And you all were kind of a little easier for us because you already were established in the market, you had a good reputation, and you had a solid customer base that knew what you did and appreciated what you did. So
that's nice.
but basically, I'm a broadcast brat. My father, at age, I think 14, was a amateur ham operator and had a radio station in my family's home in Paducah, and basically took over his sister's dollhouse and put a 50-foot tower up in the backyard. And this is before, of course, I was born, so I'm repeating a story.
Now, was there a windmill on it? For some reason, I'm imagining a windmill on the tower or something like that.
I've been to the house. I've seen the actual playhouse. He had wires running from his bedroom in the corner of the house to the house. And back in those days, you built your own radio station from a kit.
Okay.
And he was basically had an engineering mind, so it came easy for him. And he talked to other ham operators all over the world, India, London, and basically in those days, short band and long band radio were big things.
Sure.
And even if you go to an antique store and you'll see like an old radio, a Philco or something, you'll see clear channel radio stations on the description of the band across, like WSB in Atlanta, or WLS in Chicago, or WHAS in Louisville. Those are all clear channel radio stations, meaning that back in the day, the federal government designated radio stations to have a channel which was only their channel, versus the name Clear Channel. It was put in purposes for the defense of our nation, so if we were attacked, our government could contact the population and let them know what was happening and all that. So that's how that was created. But anyway, he got his start doing that after some years being an amateur ham operator. He joined the Merchant Marine and was a Sparks. They called him Sparks. He was a radio operator aboard the freighter.
Okay.
I looked around. I've still got it. I've got this telegraph key, and that was on the ship, and I think he disassembled it and brought it home with him. But I still got it.
Right.
And back in those days, it was Morse code was everything.
So you were influenced by all this,
Oh, yeah.
This media, business,
Oh, yeah.
broadcasting.
Well, I used to get tested at the dining room table. I had to sit there with him, for hours and learning the tables. I can remember it was like
The Morse code table.
It was like torture for me, and my mother would say, "Would you please, give him a break?" And she felt sorry for me, but I got it done,
Yeah.
So your dad in the 30s took over your aunt's dollhouse, became a ham operator. I asked weeks before before we went live, what a ham operator is. It's an amateur radio host.
Right.
At 14, which fast forward, went through the Merchant Marines, was on a ship, was an SOS operator.
Yes. Well, he was
And
a
then-
radio operator.
And then
Yes.
started teaching you that before you could walk.
Well,
So you really had no choice.
I've been around it, and then he built. Then in his professional career, he worked at a radio station in New York City, and then built radio stations and eventually a TV station. And then I came along at 15 and wanted to get the family business, so I ran television cameras and I had a shift on the local. Had my own radio show on the weekends, and so I've been around radio and TV all that for most of my professional career. And then decided that's what I wanted to do. So after college, I started being employed by radio stations as either a sales manager or an account executive. And so I worked in radio and TV in that regard. And then in 1984, I went to work for Wave Television. I was there for 10 years.
Okay.
And then I started Media Venue in 95. At that time, there was really no one buying advertising in specialty form. Basically, I guess the definition would be a media buying service. It was a company that that's all they did was just buy and negotiate advertising space.
Okay.
So they purchased the space and then they resold it to potential clients?
Didn't really resell it. They bought it for a client. The creative was already done, so
I see.
all I had to do was
I see.
pick out which billboard they wanted, or what TV shows they wanted to be in, or what placement in the local paper where they wanted to be. Usually the creative was already done for us, and sometimes not. We back then we could easily do that.
Right.
But the company grew, and now 26 years later we have advertising campaigns running from coast to coast, and our company grew because we picked categories that we knew would stand the base of time, and it would be around for a while. So
who are your clientele? I mean, obviously we use you. You've assisted us in our ability to have more of a presence online,
Sure.
and through social media, digital platforms. But mostly local businesses are your clientele, or do you do business with businesses located in other cities outside of Louisville?
Well, a lot of agencies, your standard advertising agencies, will have dozens of clients in various categories. We, on the other hand, have lots of categories, more than I would say normal, because we got our basis for helping lots of different companies, because that's what they needed. So our company grew really out of that, and then those programs grew on themselves. So in Kentucky, we buy advertising space for the Kentucky Center downtown, Louisville, and they've had a tough year because of COVID. But then again, we do a lot for Culligan Water.
Okay.
So we have these dealers that sell Culligan Water,
Sure.
the Culligan Man,
Sure.
all over the country.
Okay.
And that's another thing that's a category that's kind of protected by COVID and things, is everyone's always going to need water.
So if we just look at the small business owner here locally,
Sure.
what can you do to help them build their brand? I mean, that's in essence what Media Venue does, right? I mean,
We do.
you help businesses like ours build their brand.
Yes.
Tell people what we do for a living in a professional manner. So, what are the services that a prospective new client, a business owner, could expect from Media Venue?
And if I may, before you answer that too,
Sure.
before when Rob said you were integral in helping us set this marketing campaign up,
Yeah.
we probably would have done this, but nobody would have seen it, right? If it weren't for Weeks and his team.
Yeah.
So when you answer that question, think about that,
Right.
and that you really have helped us take our idea and allowed the people. If you're watching this today, it's because of Weeks and his team. So.
Well, it goes much deeper than calling the local company up and asking them for rates of the day.
Right.
When we look at a company to help them with their marketing, we look exactly at the brand first, how they perceive themselves and how they perceive in the market. A lot of times you look in the mirror and you look at yourself, but other people look at you differently. It's the same thing with business.
Right.
And we need to know that firsthand because we need to know how we need to kind of dress that business to go out and grow and attract business. Right. So the brand is important. That's the first thing we look at. And once we kind of recognize what they are, then we look at their competitors in the market, and then we look at their overall footprint of where they want to grow for the next 3 to 5 years. Usually it's 3 years now. It used to be 5, but now with business and the way the economy grows, we look at things a little closer to our chest now for as far as planning something out in front.
Sure.
But for the most part, we like to see what's ahead of that client, where their business climate is going to be,
right, and
then try to plan for that. Our staff are very experienced media buyers and planners. They've done this for a living. I always often say that my biggest expense is the salary for our staff, because I own the place, but I'm the least, probably the lowest least paid person there, because our salary requirements are high because we have to have that experience.
Sure.
And we have to know that category. If we don't, we have to spend the amount of time to learn it. But usually we don't really have to learn a specific trade of an account. In other words, we don't need to understand the restaurant business near as much as perceived, because we know where the audience is that walks into that restaurant.
Right.
So, but our people are very well trained and have a lot of experience in dozens and dozens of categories.
So let's talk about digital advertising, because
sure,
that's what you've been able to help us with.
Yes.
I have always been confused by what some of these terminologies mean. SEO, SEA, SEM, and not to get in the weeds here, but
SOS.
SOS.
Today, when I come across somebody or some business, I always Google them.
Yeah.
I Google them, and I want to do background work on them prior to meeting them. I go to their website, I go to their Facebook page, I might even visit their LinkedIn site. So when someone Googles a business, are there ways in which you can help them become more seen on the web? Is that what search engine optimization or SEO means? Is that?
Well, SEO is having your website and your company being found easily by search engines.
Okay.
And it's changed a lot. And Google and the search engines have changed the rules several times over.
Okay.
And they changed the algorithms for which the searches are based on.
And you can help a small business be more visible.
It's the first thing that we'll look at. If a company calls us and says, "Can you help us? We're this company. We've been around for this long of a period. This is where we are. This is what we like to do." That's the first thing we look at, because no matter what advertising campaign we might recommend, the prospect or the consumer is going to go to that website. If they see it on TV or hear it on radio or see it on a billboard, they're going to go check them out. If they've got a website that looks like it was created 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, it usually looks dated.
Yes.
It's just it's the first impression. Just like you go to a dance and you're wearing a T-shirt and everybody's wearing tux. Your first impression is very important, and so your business has got to look legit. And we often will just look at a website and say,
But we have to be patient, right?
You've got to be
coming from
patient.
the most patient guy in the world.
I know.
So just to let the audience know, I'm not very patient, and so, we of course hire a media venue, and we are engaged in search engine optimization.
Sure.
And I'm wondering why we're not immediately coming up when we search financial advisor, financial planner. So a small business owner, when hiring media venue, has to understand that this is a process.
It is a process.
Not an event. It takes a while.
It takes a time. And when you do a brand new website, it will probably wipe the slate clean as far as organic search. You want your website to be found on the first page of a search, if possible. A lot of times that doesn't happen, and there could be a lot of reasons for that. But for the most part, we'll look at the website very carefully. If we can recommend some changes to keep it, we'll do so. If it needs to be revamped, then we'll recommend you either hire a company or hire us to redo it.
So just to be clear on that,
Sure.
if you've had if you're a business owner and you've had a website for 15 years, you're only talking about what do you mean revamp? If you redesign it, that doesn't mean you're starting from scratch, does
No,
it? Like
a lot
you're
of
just saying
times
if you
websites will have broken links and it'll have outdated code.
okay.
And when you instigate a search for a company and you type in best restaurants in, the best restaurants are going to pop up on that first page. But what happens is when you instigate that search, it sends a bot through the internet and it looks for the term that you're searching for. So if your website doesn't have allows the website to walk in the doors to go find that and retrieve that information, it won't let it in. And often the reason for it can't do that is because the code's outdated. There's broken code inside the website. It's outdated. There could be a lot of reasons why that is.
Interesting. So if I could kind of break it down, give an analogy to make sure I understand it as the audience may. So if you've had a website, you're a financial advisor for 20 years,
Right.
and your website has been pinged as the first choice Google will show if the word investment or the term investment advice pops up. You revamp the website, somehow the code or something might put the word, you might have investment advice on the website, but that might restructure the code to change your place in the line. So
Keywords change, and
that's really important.
and,
You know,
and
don't want to get in the weeds, but
right, and keywords cost money, and a lot of times, and it really kind of depends on the level of search you're looking for. But for the most part, we want to make sure that your website looks good. Search engines can find the business, and that's really one of the first things that we like to see, because whatever we recommend, whether it's a TV spot or whatever, people will go to that website to check you out. They want to see how legitimate you are.
So how has so search engine optimization? I think we understand that a little better now. Of course, there's ways to advertise on the internet. There's ways to market your company on the internet. But how has advertising changed over the years? Because years and years and years ago, when I first started in this industry, we put a little ad in the newspaper.
Right.
Okay, now I don't even get the newspaper anymore. I'm sure some do. But how has it changed? I mean, is TV advertising still king?
It is.
Is followed by now digital and then radio. And what does the new business owner... but TV advertising has got to be ridiculously expensive. So not everyone can probably afford that. So what does the small business owner do if they have a limited budget and they still want to get their name and brand out?
Well, the channels, a lot of the channels in the traditional media have changed and modernized to some degree. It's the audience, though, that also changes.
Okay.
So you have to look at the technology of, for example, billboard companies. That's still a very viable way to reach consumers, because you're rolling down the highway or the road and you see the billboard, and whether you're influenced for 6 or 7 or 30 seconds, depending on how fast you're going past that panel, it does make an impression on you. Radio stations are in different networks, and there's different formats. There's country music lovers, and there's hip hop lovers, and there's news information.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have heard how popular Rush Limbaugh was,
Right.
because it was talk radio.
Right.
Television is still the king because of sports and the thirst for local news and local weather. Those will always be really strong
Right.
staples. But in that particular medium, that video is going to streaming television, which means basically we call it appointment television, because it's watching TV when you want to watch it.
Fair enough.
The difference there too is in traditional media, when you have TV commercials on TV, you can whiz past them or pause it and walk out of the room. With streaming, you cannot do that. You've got to watch the TV commercial. No matter how hard you try to get around that, you're still going to have to watch that TV commercial.
Right.
And it can be as expensive, but it can be very inexpensive. So
Okay.
there's lots of different channels now for streaming. The NFL right now is getting ready to introduce Thursday Night Football for the very first time. Do you think it's going to end there? No, it's going to grow and grow and grow
On a streaming
format.
platform.
So which means you can watch Thursday Night Football, but you can watch it at Thursday at midnight, or you can watch it Friday morning, perhaps if it's shown again. So the technology will continue to advance, and the ability for advertisers to reach those audiences, that also grows as well. So it all starts to roll, and some things get more inexpensive, and some things remain the same because of technology and the demand to advertise.
Well, and it doesn't cost any money to sit down with Weeks and his team.
No.
And that's, that this is all just new for some of you. It was new for us last summer, and we've learned a considerable amount.
Mm-hmm.
So, what else? Why should somebody come and spend time with you and your team? Tell us, who the ideal candidate might be.
Well, for what you all do, there are a lot of similarities in that someone is always better to talk with you rather than try to figure out what stocks to buy, right?
Yeah.
Because you know that landscape very well. You know the companies that do it. You know the track record. You know what is trending up, what's trending down. You know really probably what to recommend. It's the same thing with us. Our job is to make sure that the money that is spent or the budget that's created for an advertising campaign, it works. It's supposed to work. It's supposed to deliver the results that the customer is looking for. So we go much farther than calling up a station or an ad vendor and look at rates of the day. We have to really understand that landscape and then recommend the right vehicle to invoke the response they're looking for. So we're very, very careful with that, and but we do want to always teach consistency, because advertising is really there's a lot of different facets to it, and branding is a big part of it, and you've got to be consistent, and that's probably one of the most important messages. A lot of people will look at ad campaigns and expect a line out the door,
Right.
And I wish it worked that way. If it did, I'd have the mountain.
You have to be patient.
I'd have the chair on the top of the mountaintop. But if you're consistent with your marketing, no matter what you spend, and if you're in the right places and you're at the right balance and you do it the right way, it should make you money, and it can make you very wealthy if you just do it right. And there's a trick to it, and you've got to have the right experience to do it. And we spend a lot of time having the right understanding of those mediums and hiring the right type of staff that can recommend the correct vehicles for a client's successful campaign.
Mm-hmm. And I read it was a research report or something years ago, and there was a statistic that said when asked, 65% of people felt that advertising didn't affect them.
Oh.
However, they believed that advertising affected 99% of other people.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I think it was specifically with billboards. So,
Sure.
So if you don't think marketing works, or if you don't think as a business owner that you should invest in it, that for me, I think, is the biggest takeaway of what our experience has been.
Sure.
In that being patient and being consistent and being genuine, being authentic as to really telling who you are, what you do, the people that you serve. And Weeks, you and your team have really helped us find those people that we are going to best serve.
Right.
And you know how to find those people by building a relationship with us, and you really have done an extraordinary job with that. So thank you.
Well, our research efforts are boundless. We go to a lot of lengths to find the right type of information we need to ascertain the right type of recommendation. And I think I said before, we spend about 20% of our time talking people out of crazy stuff. I mean, it's either not the right vehicle for them to see response from, or it's something that has no basis at all, or it's too much money. We like to look at these budgets like it's our money. What would we do? And we like to back up our recommendations with research and what we believe is going to deliver the audience that the client's looking for. So we work really, really hard at that, and we have lots of references. So anytime anyone wants a reference on our company and what we do, I'm more than happy to provide that.
And you can really help just about anybody. I mean, you could help a person in the real estate business, right? A brand of their name.
Anybody.
You could help anyone that is starting a business or has a existing successful, maybe even second or third generation business.
You know what's funny is my media director, Jacqueline Grieshaber, anytime that I walk into her office with a new prospect or someone has called us, the first thing she says to me is, "What's the budget?" And I always kind of laugh because I know it's coming. You don't have to have a huge budget to make advertising work. You really don't.
Yeah.
It's the consistency of that message and the right vehicle that makes it work.
Right.
And if there's one thing that we have to teach consistently is just have that patience.
Well, this Facebook Live, this has proven very rewarding for us.
It's a great vehicle.
And we boost this out to thousands of viewers. We probably average 4,000 or 5,000 views of each show per week. I think it is.
Right.
That's big.
It is, and
It is.
And our goal has simply been to introduce ourselves to the public, so that people can see who we are and what we represent and get to know us a little bit. No different than what you try to do when you go in and meet with prospective new clients. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to help them help themselves.
That's right. That's right.
And you've done a great job for
thank
us. I've probably not been the easiest guy to work with, but the reality
We've
is,
had tougher people than you, believe me.
the reality is we want to do things right, and as do you, and our we've been very happy. So I hope some of you searching for this type of solution might reach out to Media Venue and Weeks Mckinney Smith, and we can always give you his contact information. But they've done wonderful work for us. I'm really thrilled. You've got a brochure here that describes your services.
Right. If you'd like more information on our company, I can either send you a PDF or I can mail this to you. But it tells you everything about what we do and every service and what it means and the definitions of everything. But if you want to email me, Weeks, WEAKS, @mediavenue.com, I'm more than happy to send you a PDF or a brochure, and that way you can see what we're all about.
Yeah.
And we'll have your website on the show notes. But what is your website? Is it mediavenue.com?
It's mediavenue.com.
All right.
Mediavenue.com.
Check them out, and and it's one of those things too, where as a small business owner, you created your business because you know what you are great at doing. You know that you have something special to offer the target market that you're offering. But they say the greatest ideas are those that go unsaid. Please do not let the fear of a budget or the time or the investment or how long it's going to take keep you from getting yourself out there, because Weeks and his team will do an extraordinary job of helping you find the people that you're meant to help, and you're meant to help grow and offer those services that make you who you are and make you unique.
Well, we'll help you find the place to jump in, and once you jump in, and we'll do measured success, then you can let that grow. And with every one of our clients, we've started in one area and it's grown to several areas. And when you're successful, we're successful. So, they always say that your success for your business is built on the people that work for you. So I'm very fortunate to have real experts that have had years of experience doing this. And I really enjoy walking into their office saying, okay, we have this new client, and they all kind of look at me like they're waiting for the shoe to drop, because we're given lots of challenges and we're giving lots of opportunities for things that we've never seen before. And in today's climate, it's really important that you don't just linger on the vine and not do anything. Take charge of your business, take charge of your marketing, because it can make your business much more successful if you do it right. You don't have to spend $1 million to do it, and we'll come up with the best recommendation and the best pathway for you to see success.
Well said. And this has been wonderful. Thank you for all the work that you and your team have helped our firm with.
Absolutely.
Kyle, thank you to you for bringing all of this to my attention last July. it's been transforming for our business.
I see a new vocation for you. You would be a bad anchor guy. You're not bad at that at all. You're pretty good.
He's very good at it.
He is very good.
Right.
Thank you.
And you can also be a spokesman for hire, maybe.
Hey, you know, I'm happy you're at KPP.
You can be a good influencer.
I love our team. I appreciate that. Well, and with that said, Rob, anything you'd like to add?
No, I think this has been a good conversation. I think a lot of business owners struggle with knowing how to get the word out and how they're different and how they believe they're better. And if that's you, have a cup of coffee with Weeks here in the next few months, and maybe you can solve some of that as we have here.
Yeah, just call us.
Yeah, and our goal, our mission at KPP is, again, to provide advice for life so that you can work towards the life that you've earned. And we're so fortunate to have been able to utilize this media platform to introduce you to extraordinary people like Weeks and his team. So it really is a blessing to be able to offer the financial advice for our clients, our friends, our family members, our loved ones, and really help our clients work toward that future. And part of that is actually connecting them with extraordinary people. And so we're grateful to have that opportunity to do that. So if you're a small business owner and you would need help with your personal finances or your business finances, and you're looking for a wealth management solution, a team to sit down with and hang out with and build the kind of relationship that you're looking for in your practice, give us a call, KPP. Our phone number is 502-394-0400. We are located on the heart of Louisville's East End on the corner of Shelbyville Road and Hurstbourne Lane. It is the best view in Louisville by far.
Is.
With
And
sirens.
That's right. You know, every so often. Thank God for the boys in blue, right?
That's right.
So with that said, thank you for watching. I hope you all have a great week. And until next time, thank you for watching Coffee with KPP Live.